should have actually canceled this like 5 times already, but somehow I kept forgetting, and now I guess we're here. So I guess this is what's supposed to be. All right. Page 133.
Still cancel the one that you leave.
What do you say?
You could still cancel the one that you leave.
Yeah. You have to live within reality. Okay, so on page 133, I guess we'll start. I got a long voice note this morning, and the person says to me, in other chaburas that I've been giving over the past week or two, a few weeks actually, I've been talking about Emunah, different. This is Bitachon. We're in the world of Emunah. I was discussing over there about Emunah Pshuta. Pashir Emunah. I'm a Pashir Yid. And I was talking about this different. It's not so Pashir to be a Pashir Yid, but it is Pashir at the same time. And I was talking about how a person has to learn to just start saying out loud, Ani Mamin. Ani Mamin. I'm a believer. There's no questions. Don't ask me, how do I know there's a... Ani Mamin. Emunah Pshuta. Fine. So there have been people who are working on this, and I get a voice note this morning from one of these guys who's been listening, he's working on it. He says, in all honesty, I've been listening to certain podcasts, and one of them is discussing, I don't know if he's a Buddhist himself, or he's talking about Buddhism or whatever, and he was saying how from there, he was learning about how a person is supposed to, detach from the I, because all suffering is coming from the I, and you have to detach from it, and it's a life of bliss and a life of calm. And to say Ani Ma'amin, I'm a believer, seems to be, you're bringing on suffering because you're putting the I. Wherever there's an I, there's suffering, there's ego. You have to rid yourself of the I. This is the. I think the voice note was actually 1 minute and 2 seconds, which looks like 102. Which is Gemachi Emunah, but it doesn't really mean anything. So what do I send back to him?
Use a different language.
Okay, that's one way.
Say, what's the question?
Okay, there's one way. No, but he's asking. He's not just asking about the way he's saying it. He's trying to understand. I'm a believer. I mean, that's the truth. You're trying to define
me instead of I.
Again, you're saying the same thing. That's not the answer. The answer is not about changing the lashon. What's he missing? We say Ani Mamin every day. That's the lashon that we have every day after davening. There's nothing wrong with the lashon. What's the answer?
He's missing the core of the I, where he's coming from.
No, let's let you. Yeah.
I'm trying. I am not I. I mean, I'm something that Kodesh Baruch Hu put into me to help me reconnect myself to. Not I, but Elokus. This
is more on the derech, but why am I bringing it up over here? I shouldn't be actually talking about it in a different chabur. What is bitachon? What's bitachon? Isn't bitachon detaching ourselves from results and expectations? When we say ani ma'amin, we're really trying to get to the point. Moshe is saying. Ani, if I'm really a believer, what do I believe? That there's a God who's running the world. Yes? Every single moment there's a Borei Olam who's running every single thing that's happening. The I, when you look at it from the lens of Emunah, is not I, it's ayin. You switch around the letters from ani to ayin. What does ayin mean? Ayin is nothing. When I say I believe that there's a Borei Olam and I'm in a certain way, nothing. If he's the Borei Olam, he created the world, he created me, he's creating every single event that's happening. This is Emunah 101. Then what am I? I am humbled by that. Correct? No? Why is Moshe Rabbeinu the honor of Mikol Adam?
Because he understood more than anybody else.
He understood what? He should be the biggest Baal Gaiv if he understood everything.
No, because he understood Kodesh Baruch Hu.
He understood that everything that he had came from a Kodesh Baruch Hu. So he knew the most the most that he's nothing. That's a nova, not in a bad way. He was the most powerful Jew we ever had. Because when you say ani ma'amin, I believe in a Borei Olam, you're saying, and it's not me. What's bitachon? It's all HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's for the best. Right? Bitachon then takes hashgacha pratis to the next madrega. Emunah is everything comes from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He creates everything. He does everything. But sometimes there's pain and suffering with that because I don't want that. I get it. It's from God, but I don't like that. I'm suffering. Bitachon says, we have to train ourselves. 2.0 is, but it's for my best. Even if I don't see it, even if it's against logic. And even if it's not for this moment, maybe it is, maybe it's not, maybe it's from a past moment, maybe it's for the next moment. We drop the logic. We are detaching ourselves. In Yiddishkeit, of course we're detaching ourselves, but from what? From expectations, from results. Nobody can create a result in this world. It's impossible. We're going to get to it more. You cannot create results. You can put all your effort in up to the point, but ultimately Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who decides. He's the one who makes it happen for our best. Whether we put all the efforts in and it goes is from him. Or we put all of our efforts in and it doesn't go. It doesn't go is from him. I did everything I could do. I made the phone calls, I did this, I went there, I did this, I did all the things. If you hold on to the results, good luck. I guess if it goes, you'll be happy. If it doesn't go, you're going to be going crazy. But then that's you holding on. That's called gaiva. That's called you're not believing in a Kodesh Baruch Hu making the decisions for you at the end of the day to decide what's best for you. So when we talk about detachment, that's a Buddhist term. By Yidden, we're the shorish of detachment. Avram Avinu, Yitzchak, Yaakov. Yitzchak was ready to give up his life because he believed and he trusted in a Kodesh Baruch Hu that's much greater than him. And I went on weiter. Does that make sense for everybody? Not that you're really nervous about Buddhists, but we have to understand this is Emunah B'Tachon 101. Questions? You're not satisfied. You're scratching the fire there. That'd be worse.
I'm trying to think, and that's a bit stretched too. I'm trying to think how that. I'm trying to Miyasha how that exactly answers his sincere question.
So his sincere question seems to be is that if suffering comes from living with I, we have to detach from the I, and then there's no suffering. So to say I am a believer, well then there's going to be suffering attached to that because there's I. The question, if I would spoken to him, I could have broken him down even without that because it's not even what I'm a believer really means. But it gave me an opportunity to give him a shot of Emunah B'Tachon properly. When we say I am a believer, I trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu, if we understand the whole sugya, it's really not I. We're really coming to a bittul. And the greatest bittul. Not just whatever nature does, it does, and I'm gonna try to separate myself from nature. Celibacy, I'm gonna stay away from everything. Adrab. A Jew with Emunah B'Tachon can live in the world with everything and happily and calm if he detaches himself from his expected results, his desires. The ultimate desire is to desire what a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants. That's the ultimate ratzon. And you have that ratzon, you're going to live a happy life. It doesn't matter what happens to you. Because if you can really download that I want what a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants, so what's wrong in this world? Nothing. And people could be happy when they're sick, not very sick, but you could be happy with a headache. You could be happy when the day doesn't go the right way, or what you expected, right? What does it mean not the right way? It's always because you expected it to go a different way. There's never a wrong way. It's an avoda. It's not easy, but that's what we're trying to get to. Yeah, does it make sense? People, they hold on. This is the avoda. You hold on for dear life to what you think is the right way. I know that's how we've been living for all our years. That's how we're born. We're human beings. We have a brain. We have an ego. We have an id. We have a gaiva. Whatever you want to call it. We have everything. And now some guy, somebody was saying some book from 1,000 years ago, but that's not really the right way. It's hard. It takes time.
Do you know what a carve out is?
Who?
Carve out. Okay, so carve out is in certain deals you may make in any kind of business deal. Let's say we have an agreement. Or let's say real estate, you're a broker, and I wanted to sell my house through you, and so you say, okay, anybody that I bring you, you have to pay me commission if the sale goes through. So there's a carve out because I'm already talking to these three people. So if those three people, if the sale goes through to these three people, then I don't have to pay you commission because I'm already talking to them before I sign my contract with you. So it was based on the conversation that we had just a couple of days ago, and you sent me some Shiur to help with something. I was in this exact studio. I was thinking, I want all these things, but I have my carve outs in which I, like there's one thing that I want to keep onto my kfira, keep hold of my kfira with these three things. I just want to hold on to these because those are just too hard right now to give up. So okay, because I want to do your lots now. I want to revattle myself, and it's very sincere. But you know what? There's a couple of things I can't let go, and then that basically blows the whole thing to smithereens.
But it's the beginning, at least No one's after
the
battle.
I've known this for a year, or 2 years, or 3 years.
I think everything he just said is right, except for the last sentence. Everything blows it to smithereens. Like if you would have stopped right there, I would have agreed with you completely. But it doesn't blow it.
No, because the thing is, if you say I believe in everything,
so that's the struggle.
I believe in everything that Kodesh Baruch Hu says. Chutz mi this mitzvah. What are you called? Kofar, no. I don't believe in this. I don't believe in this Indian. You call it kofar, no.
You believe in it. You just struggle with the execution of.
He's changing the way you're saying, which is important.
I hear in spot, but I've been told all my life that if Anim Amin 613 times, 612 times, excuse me, but this, no.
I guess this. Well, I don't exactly know what you're referring to.
I like your interpretation, but
everybody has a Yetzer. Everyone has a struggle, a milchama. So you that's and you believe, right? But there's a part where you keep falling short, where you feel. But like you're saying, the fact that you fell short of that last thing that blows it up to smithereens, but that's not true. It's just, you have to keep on fighting that battle for that particular item.
We gotta get you into some wrestling. Exactly. Actually, that's exactly what we're talking about. That's exactly what Daniel's saying. No, but you do need other aspects because these are hard avodas, and just go right into it, you do need a Rabbi Nachman and Shem Yesh, and you do need a Chabad, and you need all these other tools and pieces of advice to help you stay on this path. The path we got, just to actualize it, execute, is not easy. It comes with a lot of Yetzer Haras, mostly up here.
Yeah.
Come out all of them.
And
then some. Yeah. Okay, so that was the beginning conversation for today.
Wait, did we do the first two paragraphs on 133 last time? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I probably ran through it, but it's an easy read. You can read it. Okay, let's go to this next part. It's a new part of the sugya here. But again, these concepts that be chazering over and over again, like what I was just talking about with Emunah B'Tachon and detaching from results. This is part of the basics that have to be reviewed again and again and again. It's hard to say all, I don't like to say that ever, but a large number, kimat all, suffering. I'm not talking about physical suffering. Physical suffering is when you're in pain. But suffering, which most often is in the mind and the emotions, is coming because you had certain expectations. Whether it be sunny outside and it's raining, whether you wanted to go do something but you have a pain in your elbow, whatever it is, and you can't do it. So it's not there's physical pain, but then there's suffering because now you can't do what you wanted to do because of, and you mix it all together. But when a person learns to live with the world of bittul, coming from Emunah B'Tachon, because I believe and I trust that this is exactly how it's supposed to be, so then you don't need to suffer. It's so important. Because you have people listening to these, I'm going back over it again, but you have people listening to these podcasts now, or wherever they're getting information from, Buddhists and Hindus, or whatever they're listening to. Or Rebbe's told us Maisim, and I even heard more Maisim of good Jewish boys listening to priests and galachs and Yoshka says this, Yoshka says that, and That sounds great. Judaism didn't teach that to me. This is a problem. And everything Yoshka said was, I'm not saying, I don't know anything that he said really that much, but guaranteed all the good things he said came from, when he was learning, Mishnayos when he was younger or something.
Well, that line that boy said to Rabbi in the room over there was, because the priest told me that God loves me.
That was one of the lines. But unfortunately, there's many lines. Like what this person was telling to me. Buddhism, detachment, it's gewaldig, it's sweet. Detachment's in here. Hashem loves me, it's all in here also. Most things are in emes. Living life happily and properly, if you go to Chovos Lovos, Shaar Habitachon, but also his other Sharim, you're going to live a good, happy life if you learn it and you live his life. This is the way a Yid is supposed to live. Also Mesilas Yesharim, also Shar, all those things also. I'm not saying one or the other. But to live with Chovos Lovos, if you see more, that's his whole goal. If there's a Bar Olam, you can have your cake and eat it too. If you live truly with the Kodesh Baruch Hu. It's not Chassidus. It's Chovos Lovos. It's been around 1,000 years, plus years. So just remember that it all comes. It's all, we have it all. We have to just know how to carve it out. Okay, page 133. The author continues by discussing the cases in which God gives a person wealth for the sake of providing for others. So get ready if you're a boss or a father. Here we go. Yesh shemana gabori tarpe rabim mibnei adam ayidei ish echamehem. Page 134. Lahavchin bezeh avodas lelukim mehamroso v'yosim hazeh min hasibos hachazokos shebesibos hanisayon v'hasasa lo. Sometimes the Creator, page 133, sometimes the Creator directs the sustenance of many people through one person in order to test him. So if you're a boss, if you're a manager, if you're a father who has a wife and kids, if you have anybody that you're also supporting, taking care of in any means, in any way, again, supporting them financially, food, clothing, whatever it may be, let's get it clear. In order to test him, it is a test. For my own stuff, my own personal needs, we already learned in the last, that was already the last part. Kodesh Baruch Hu guarantees me what I need personally. Clothing, food, shelter, and I could trust in him for that. So I'm good. I'm very happy. But sometimes the Kodesh Baruch Hu gives you more money, more positions. He wants you to get married and have children and have a wife. But now what's all that extra needed support? It's a test. If he is serving God or rebelling against him. And this reminds us to what? Why we even start Parnas in the first place. Shaar Habitachon taught us very clearly, why does a person go and do hishtadlus? 2 reasons. To test us and to keep us out of trouble. That's the real reason. Otherwise, the Kodesh Baruch Hu could take care of us, our simple needs in a million ways. But he wants us to grow. He wants us to be Bali Bitachon. He wants us to be Bali Avoda. That's what truly brings happiness. Bal Midas, a Bal Mitzvahs, a Bal Torah, a Ben Torah. You work on that when you're doing your hishtadlus, whatever that hishtadlus is. Going to work, doing whatever you have to do, bringing out your best kochos. It's all a test. So too, if you are a boss of other people and you have to support them, ultimately, who's the supporter? Kodesh Baruch Hu, not you. But it becomes your responsibility, and therefore it's a test. If he is serving God or rebelling against him, we're going to explain. Now listen to what he says. Such a test is among the most difficult of all trials and temptations for a person. To be a boss of other people, you are put into a tremendous nisayon. What's the biggest nisayon over here? Keep money for yourself. Or are you God, or is God God? Because when now it's on you to support these people, so therefore, first of all, it's on me. Therefore, if I provide for them, they better turn back to me, because it's me, it's I. I'll decide what you need. Now you have all this shlita, you have all this control. If you're not an anav, like one of the biggest midas that a king needs to be, David HaMelech, you need a nava. You have to remember that you're actually not the boss, there's a boss above you. Because if it's left to your own will, how many kings, look at Achashverosh, look at the kings, even the kings of, unfortunately, Yisrael, Achav and others, the power, the desire, it could destroy other people, it could destroy you. So such a test is among the most difficult of all trials and temptations. And a person has to know, then we'll just jump into this right now. With bitachon, it is not so simple that when the company says, we want to give you a raise or a better, higher position, you're waiting your whole life. You want to be the manager, you want to be the CFO, CEO, whatever it is. In America, with a non-bitachon mind, of course, this is my whole life I've been waiting for this. More money. It's basically what it comes out to. Or more cover. But if you really have truly bitachon, it's not so simple. It's an isayun. If a person mamish needs the money, that's not what we're talking about here. The person, he has what he needs. He has what he needs. And he supports his wife and his kids. You've been working already 20 years. And then they offer you that position. Is it so pasha to take it? With bitachon, you're entering into a nisayim. Big nisayim. It's not so pasha. Right? Everything has to run through amunah bitachon. If you wanted to. You don't have to. But if you want to be able to take a position which generally comes with stress and anxiety, right? Where you have to support other people and your decisions mean a lot for a lot of people. So everybody says, okay, it's worth it for the money, it's worth it. Not every time, obviously, but when it comes to bitachon, maybe it's not appropriate. The person has to know, it's not so simple. Kemel shumatrif chelu v'avodu v'chinasarim v'rohim elef ha'sagonim asher sevivoseihem kitos ma'avdeihem v'shamsheihem u'fikideihem noshim krovim mishtadlim b'avurim la'achazer al sibos kibbutz hamom b'ponim tovim v'rohim. An example of such a person would be a king who provides for his army and his servants. Similarly, ministers, advisors to the king, and the deputies who are surrounded by groups of servants, assistants, officials, wives, and relatives, for whom they make efforts to pursue means of amassing wealth through both good and bad ways. The king has a lot of people he has to support. But everybody has people to support. The foolish among them make 3 mistakes. These are the mistakes. Echad mehem, bekavtso hamamon, ki hu lokech ma shegazel laborei, lakachto alpanim, meguna veron. V'il hayim mevakesh aso alafanav, hayim magil, chetzo ritzono, hayim eskayim biyodu in yintaraso, uva lo yachaselo ma shegazel laborei me'um. Before we start, when you have pressure to support others, right, automatically, if you have not been working on bitachon, it's going to come with anxiety, worry, right? That's the pressure. All of that whole world. There's going to be a whole world resting on your shoulders. Now, when people are in a pressure cooker, right? Sometimes it creates holes, pops. What are the pops? The inappropriate pops. The first mistake is in the manner in which he amasses wealth. I have to make money. I have to keep the kingdom going. I have to keep this place going. I have to do whatever it takes. Now, whatever it takes, he obtains that which the Creator has decreed for him to take through bad and shameful means. HaKadosh Baruch Hu has decided already if you're going to be able to support these people. It's up to him. And if it's the proper position for you, and you worked out through bitachon, then HaKadosh Baruch Hu will take care. But if you feel the pressure, you feel the achrayis, you don't have the trust, you have to pay. Whatever it means. Shameful, bad and shameful ways. What's the difference between bad and shameful? So look at the bottom here, page 134, the last note. Through bad and shameful ways, shameful refers to occupations that disgrace the person, even though they are permitted according to the Torah. You might take inappropriate positions, or you might not do things against the Torah, but You might be mean. You might be pushy, right? Because you're aggravated, so you're going to let it out on other people. It's shameful. Bad refers to occupations or means of obtaining wealth that involve violating Torah law, or being in a job that you cut corners, a little bit of geneva, whatever it is. Right? However it comes, it could be mamish against the Torah or against the ruach of Torah. Whether it means halacha, midos, were you to make efforts to obtain it by employing permissible and appropriate means. If you would have stayed calm, he would have had trust. With everything that we've been learning, he would still achieve his wants and desires. He'd be able to support those who he needs to support. Simultaneously, he would have managed to uphold his Torah observance while doing well in his worldly matters. And he would not be lacking anything from that which the Creator decreed for him. Sometimes this has to be worked through properly. Sometimes, if it's talking about employees, you might have to let an employee go. Kids, we don't let the kids go. When it comes to employees, he's not beneficial to the company. It could be that he's making the company lose money. Maybe you shouldn't be forcing it. Maybe you shouldn't be stressing. You shouldn't be stressing ever, but maybe this guy has to get a cut. What does Yirmi Ginsberg say about it? I remember the first time we learned this was years ago. A guy, I remember at the time, he had to fire somebody, and he wanted to work it out. Sometimes there's a person on your staff that shouldn't be there, so therefore you have this extra pressure because he's not even supposed to be there. And Kodesh Baruch would say, listen, if it's appropriate, you have to work it out. I'm not telling anybody to fire anybody. But it could be you have to let the person go, and then don't forget, this person also has to trust in Kodesh Baruch. You don't tell him that. Hey, buddy, I'm letting you go because really you need to work on your trust. But it has to be done properly. I'm not saying it's not a simple matter at all. Not a simple matter at all, especially dealing with Jews.
It's the worst.
It's,
Having to let somebody go.
I can't even imagine. So sometimes you hold on to a person, you just put them on your shoulders. But sometimes if it's going to destroy you, you have to know. You have to ask a psak. Maybe it's kedai, maybe it's not kedai. I'm not the Baal Shem Tov. I know I heard stories of tzaddikim, they could do it. Again, it's everything can be up for discussion through Yirmi Ginsberg. Can be. And if it comes out according to Yirmi Ginsberg that you're supposed to let him go, that's what a Kodesh Baruch Hu wants from you, then trust him, Kodesh Baruch Hu, and this is what you have to do. You can't beat yourself up over it if that's what you need to do. But again, you need to really work it through. Don't come out here today and just start axing people, because I'm pressured, so I'm just going to cut off, $200,000 in salaries to make myself feel better. That's vicious. It has to be done appropriately. All the wealth, page 135, all the wealth that a person amasses that he could provide for others would have reached those people one way or another. Right? Either through you or maybe another way. Maybe somebody's grandmother is going to get ill and pass away and then leave this guy an inheritance. Because the Kodesh Baruch Hu really is the one who takes care of everybody, not you. You have to do what you have to do appropriately with hishtadlus, with bitachon. That means to stress out over this would be a breach of bitachon. It's where I said in some of the chaburas, I'm going to say it again for my air conditioning guy, I'll quote him. It's your responsibility, but it's not your fault. Because he said it the other way. He was saying, it's my fault. It's not my fault, but it's my responsibility. It's a big line. It's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. There's a lot of things in life that Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. He does things that we can't control. Like all the time, we just think we can control. So you have to understand that it's not my fault, but it is my responsibility. You can't become it's Kodesh Baruch Hu runs the world. I could just sit in my bed and it's not my fault. It's not my responsibility. No. It is your responsibility, but it's not your responsibility to stress. It's not your responsibility to worry. That's your choice. That's your bechira. It's your responsibility to do the shtadlus like Kodesh Baruch Hu wants. At the same time, trust, and therefore you take your responsibility seriously, happily, seriously, not intensely. Take it seriously. You don't have to be intense, like where you're. That's also it's too much. That means you're taking too much on your shoulders. That's what intensity is. No, I think serious. What is it in your Ernst? No. What's Ernst in Yiddish? Sincerely. No. What does it mean? Oh, I mean seriously. Okay. That's what we want to be. All the wealth that a person amasses that he can provide for others would have reached those people one way or another. That's part of our bitachon. It is a grave mistake to think that he needs to engage in inappropriate methods of obtaining their livelihood when he could have done so in a permissible and appropriate manner. What happens in these situations that your kavod comes in? If you can't provide for these people, so then you feel that they're looking down upon you. That all that inner insecurity stuff comes out. It's difficult stuff to work on. Right? If a person hasn't worked on himself, it could be jealousies. That guy is able to manage his guys, but I'm not able to manage my guys. A lot of midos issues arise when it comes to this. That's where a lot of the suffering comes from. A lot of the stress, not just the money. Of course, the money, but money brings out all this depth, all this deep stuff that we haven't yet worked through. But as we discussed before, and we could discuss again, and we'll continue to discuss, that proper bitachon also helps mute chesronis in our midos. Yes, I have issues. I do have insecurities, but I trust that the Kodesh Baruch Hu is the one who gave me them, and I want to work on them. And therefore, even though this situation triggers my insecurity, but bitachon comes and neutralizes that. Insecurities, all these things are without a Kodesh Baruch Hu. What does the word bitachon mean in modern Hebrew? Security, right? Isn't that what I mean? So the ultimate security, and to help a person's insecurities, I guess is a bigger topic. I didn't mean to get into it, but the way to fix insecurities, and insecurities are the deepest, most raw parts of a person he doesn't even know exist. But every time you get upset about something, it's because of an insecurity. You have to just find it. But bitachon can neutralize that. The security, you put that in there. Because insecurities are all man-made. They're man-made. They're not God-made. You have to just find it and realize, whoa, there's a Baruch. He runs the world. I trust in him. It's okay. Yeah, sometimes I make mistakes. Sometimes everybody does things that don't look amazing. But no. I tried, doing my best, keeping the Torah and mitzvahs, doing what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants. It's better to look right. It's better to look proper in the eyes of Hashem and be crazy in everybody else's eyes than look proper in the eyes of everybody else and be crazy in the eyes of Hashem. Right? We take upon ourselves inappropriate means, shameful ways, bad ways, going against the Torah, going against mitzvahs. Why are you doing that? So we look proper in the eyes of the world, but we're looking crazy in the eyes of Hashem. With bitachon, we care about Hashem's eyes. That's the only eyes that matter. And sometimes a person needs to be embarrassed. Sometimes you're a little bit off the path, right? We've discussed this. Sometimes you're off the derech, whatever way, and sometimes you need a little bit of a patch to get back on the derech. It's only for our best. So being embarrassed sometimes, making mistakes, failing, which by the way is inevitable that everybody will. It's impossible that there's a person who doesn't. So just like we said, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, it would be crazy for a person to think it's going to be sunny every single day, sunny and 72 degrees. It would be insane to think such a thing. And then when it's not sunny and not 72, you get upset. Why is it raining today? Sir, if we told you on January 1st how many rainy days would there be, you would tell us the amount. You know it's going to rain. It's inevitable. Correct? It's just pashut logic. Same thing. You think you're never going to fail? You think you're never going to be embarrassed? You think you're always going to be perfect? You're insane. You're a crazy person if you think that. No? We don't think it actively. It's just in the back. It's just in the back of our mind, which is a problem. Because if we would realize how insane we are thinking that, it would actually help us get out of it. You're going to make mistakes. With your wives, with your kids, with work, with a Kodesh Baruch Hu, with your friends, with your Rabbi, you're going to make mistakes. Who doesn't? And you know what? It's okay. Because it's just to get you back into the right place. We're humans. It's part of the human test. Kodesh Baruch Hu created for all of us. So, if you have that understanding that we are humans, at the same time, there's a Bari Olam who we could trust, so we can make mistakes and get back up. If you're only human, you're going to make mistakes and not get back up. Right? But if you're human with bitachon, you could fall down and get back up. Isn't that right? How do people who don't have trust in the Kodesh Baruch Hu, how do they get back up after they fall? After some time, eventually, you get up. That's part of life also. You get back up eventually. With the Kodesh Baruch Hu, you get up faster and stronger. And you don't have to go through the suffering of falling down. Ein Shem Yesh. Olam Klal. Bitachon. Hashem will continue. See you next week. It's red, so it's still going. So I guess I'll just shut it off. Yeah. I did my part. You guys gotta do your part.